Okay, my name's Chris Parkin and I've been involved with Sharp since it began in 1981. This video is it contains the stories of lots of people who've been involved in the project, but I'm going to start by telling you the beginnings of the organisation. Originally, Sharp wasn't called Sharp at all. It was Houghton and District Advice and Support Centre, and it was formed in 1981 when a group of local professionals, community activists came together and they met in the council chamber in Houghton council offices and decided to form the organisation Houghton and District Advice and Support Centre. And the purpose of the organisation was to enable local residents of the Houghton and District to have access to independent advice so that they could make decisions that affected their lives, and that's always been the philosophy of the organisation. Grant funding was secured from the local authority, and in early '82 the first workers were appointed. In the early days, the workers were based in Hall Lane YMCA and had a corner of the boardroom to operate from. Those early days were spent making contacts with the local groups, and more importantly looking for permanent premises. And by the September we were able to move into newly refurbished premises in Shiny Row and start delivering advice. We delivered advice to individuals, but we also did a lot of work with community groups, in particular residents and tenants groups, and groups of women who were concerned for their children and activities for children. A key event, I think, in the early days was the miners' strike of 1984, and that event was important because it cemented our relationship with the people of the area. We had queues out the door of people who were wanting advice because the miners didn't have access to a great deal of benefits. We spent our time going around to union meetings, working with people to provide miners' support groups, and it was an occasion which really cemented our relationship with local residents. After the miners' strike, demand for the services remained high because we were in a recession, people were losing employment, and they needed advice more than ever. And the organisation ticked along quite nicely. Unfortunately, this was also a time when local authority cutbacks were operational and the grant funding was declining and eventually reduced when the local authority decided to employ their own welfare rights workers. The centre then operated with the local authority advice workers until a decision was taken to withdraw them altogether and operate on an area basis. At that point, the management committee of, it was still then Houghton and District Advice and Support Centre, decided that they were going to stay. We had the benefits of owning the building in Shiny Row, and we applied successfully for lottery funding and decided to relaunch the organisation as Shiny Advice and Resource Project. It's now probably better for me to hand over to some of the many people who've been involved in the project since that time, and they'll tell you their stories, particularly how they got involved in the organisation, the benefits to them, and how the organisation has made a difference to their lives and the lives of their community. I now hand over to these people.